The first week of Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial marked only the beginning. From the testimony of Cassie Ventura to an unexpected appearance by Kevin Hart, the public watched closely as a powerful music figure faced serious allegations. But what lies ahead could be even more intense. The trial is no longer just about what Combs allegedly did. It's also about who may have known, who remained silent, and who else might now be involved. Names such as Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Britney Spears, and even Diddy's own sons have been mentioned in court. And with the second week approaching, some insiders suggest more revelations could be on the way. This trial has grown in scope. It's being portrayed not just as a scandal, but as the unraveling of a legacy. The first week was intense, with Cassie Ventura, Combs' former girlfriend and artist, testifying about years of alleged abuse, manipulation, and control. She described an environment of extreme wealth masking troubling behavior, including parties, drug use, and alleged coercion. Cassie claimed she was drugged, filmed without consent, and pressured into unwanted sexual situations. She alleged Combs used his fame and money to isolate and dominate her. She also described incidents of physical violence, including one where she said he chased her through a hotel, a moment reportedly caught on hotel surveillance footage. Kevin Hart appeared in court unannounced, speaking in support of Cassie's testimony. "We laughed in rooms we should have run from," he told the jury, emphasizing the danger of staying silent. However, Combs' legal team later presented text messages and video footage in an effort to question Hart's narrative and what he may have known at the time. Meanwhile, various celebrity names began surfacing in court documents, not in connection to criminal charges, but due to their association with Combs. Kanye West, Britney Spears, Michael B. Jordan, and Prince were among them. These were not accidental mentions, but rather appeared in the record during testimony or argument from both the prosecution and defense. It became increasingly apparent that the case was exposing a wider network, one of relationships, silence, and celebrity. With the trial continuing, more people may be called to testify or provide information. Rumors of subpoenas and depositions have begun circulating. What started as a legal case against one individual appears to be growing into a broader examination of an entire culture. From jury selection onward, the case faced major challenges. Finding 12 unbiased jurors was difficult, given Combs' massive influence on music and pop culture from the 1990s to the 2000s. He helped launch Bad Boy Records, collaborated with major artists, and hosted some of the most exclusive parties in places like the Hamptons and Beverly Hills. He wasn't just a celebrity, he was a cultural figure. Jurors were asked standard questions about bias and familiarity with the case, but how could anyone be truly neutral about someone who's been a fixture in entertainment for decades? Now, as testimony continues, the presence of celebrity names in the courtroom remains a significant issue. Kanye West, Britney Spears, Prince, Michael B. Jordan, Michelle Williams, and Bruce Willis were all mentioned in various contexts. While none of these individuals face accusations, their names carry significant public weight. For example, jurors were asked if they had strong opinions about Kanye West, not because he is accused, but because of his past collaborations with Combs. The concern was whether such opinions could influence jurors' views. Cassie also described an opportunity to perform at Prince's home, a moment she portrayed as meaningful, one she claimed Combs tried to undermine. The jury isn't being asked to judge Prince, but his name came up in emotionally charged testimony. In another instance, Combs' defense team mentioned Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy during a discussion about co-parenting. It was part of a broader effort to interpret Cassie's motivations. To the jury, however, it was yet another instance of well-known names being linked to the case, directly or not. Explosive trial. The concern now isn't just whether the jury can remain impartial about Diddy, it's whether they can stay focused at all, as more public figures are pulled into the story. Each time a new name is mentioned in court, it makes headlines. This means the jury isn't only being asked to weigh testimony, but also to separate that testimony from the fame and cultural influence of the individuals involved. Of all the names mentioned so far, few bring as much attention as Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. Days after Diddy's arrest, Ye released a track titled "Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine," which included what was described as a recorded phone call from jail between Diddy, Sean Combs, and his son, Christian King Combs. The song didn't go viral for its musical qualities. It went viral because of what it seemed to imply. Why would Kanye West release a song featuring such a recording right as Diddy's legal troubles were beginning? Was it a gesture of support, a show of solidarity, or something more calculated? The timing raised questions. Some saw it as an attempt to portray Diddy in a more human or sympathetic light, a father going through a difficult time. Others viewed it as a distraction. Kanye has a history of controversial moves, followed by symbolic acts aimed at influencing public perception. The jury was even asked if they held strong opinions about Kanye West, suggesting that the court anticipated his name or his connection to Diddy might become relevant. Not because Kanye is accused of anything, but because his association with Diddy could influence how the public interprets the case. Kanye and Diddy share a long history, professionally, personally, and spiritually. They've collaborated on stage, in the studio, and have been involved in political discussions. Since Diddy's arrest, Ye has not distanced himself. On its own, this isn't a legal issue, but in the public eye, it adds to the controversy, because Ye, intentionally or not, has now become part of the larger narrative around this case. People are watching to see what role, if any, he will play as events unfold. Then came testimony from Cassie Ventura. She claimed that Diddy once threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car, a claim that caught the courtroom's attention. It was not just an emotional statement, it was a specific allegation of intimidation. According to Ventura, Diddy made the threat after learning she was romantically involved with Cudi. She quoted him as allegedly saying, "I'll blow that expletives car up." At first, this might have sounded like something said in anger, but then came an unsettling detail. In February 2012, Kid Cudi's car reportedly caught fire in his driveway. At the time, it was treated as a possible accident. No one was charged, and there was no police finding that confirmed foul play. However, when Cassie brought it up under oath, the story took on new weight. She said she feared not just for herself, but also for those she was close to, implying Diddy's actions may have extended to others he saw as threats or rivals. As a result, Kid Cudi is no longer just a side note. He could be seen as a potential witness in a pattern of alleged controlling or threatening behavior. Whether or not he will testify remains uncertain, but even a deposition could be significant. He wasn't just a romantic partner, he was a well-known artist, allegedly targeted because of that relationship. If any part of Cassie's account is verified, it could support her broader claims about Diddy's behavior, anger, control, and retaliation. Cudi hasn't publicly commented on the trial, but some legal experts believe he may eventually be asked to speak, especially as Cassie's legal team pursues further investigations into past threats or acts of intimidation. If he confirms even part of her story, it could influence Diddy's legal standing, potentially leading to additional charges related to threats or attempts to intimidate witnesses. What once sounded like a dramatic story from a broken relationship is now under legal review. And if the fire in Cudi's driveway wasn't accidental, then it's not just smoke anymore. It could be treated as evidence. Finally, names like Michael B. Jordan, Bruce Willis, and Eddie Murphy have also come up, unexpectedly. While none are accused of wrongdoing, their names were mentioned during the first week of the trial in varying contexts. Each mention drew public attention and showed just how far the reach of this case may extend. One important element is Diddy's far-reaching network and the complex emotional dynamics between him, Cassie, and the public figures surrounding them. Cassie testified that her brief relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan triggered another violent incident with Diddy. She claimed he found out through surveillance, another suggestion of the level of control he allegedly had over her life. According to her, the aftermath was not only verbal, but also physical. Another argument, another emotionally charged episode. While her connection to Michael B. Jordan may not carry legal consequences, it highlights a deeper issue. Cassie said, "She wasn't just afraid Diddy might hurt her. She also feared for the safety of anyone she tried to build a life with." That fear, she claimed, prevented her from speaking out earlier. During cross-examination, Diddy's legal team shifted their approach, referencing Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy in what appeared to be an attempt to frame Cassie as envious. They read aloud text messages in which Cassie reportedly expressed a desire to be more than a girlfriend, to be a maternal figure to Diddy's children. The attorneys cited Willis and Murphy as examples of celebrities who co-parent successfully after separation. This seemed to suggest that Cassie was not simply a victim, but someone trying to secure a lasting role in Diddy's life. However, this strategy may have backfired. Instead of discrediting Cassie, it arguably revealed the extent to which Diddy's team was willing to go to portray her as manipulative. More significantly, it brought two more well-known names into the courtroom, Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy, without their involvement or consent. Willis has remained largely out of the public eye due to health issues, and Murphy, a private figure off-screen, has not publicly commented on being mentioned. That their parenting examples were used in a legal context shows how this trial is extending into broader celebrity culture. These celebrities are not being accused of anything. Instead, they are being drawn into the narrative as symbolic figures by both sides. This highlights that fame doesn't exist in isolation. In a case this high profile, even those on the margins can be pulled into the spotlight. Cassie's mention of Prince in court did not go unnoticed. She described being invited to perform at his home, a moment she called a dream opportunity. She chose not to tell Diddy because she feared his reaction. According to her sworn testimony, he found out. Anyway, she said he followed her, confronted her, and physically assaulted her, not because of any wrongdoing, but because she had acted independently. What makes this part of her testimony significant isn't just the mention of Prince. It's that such an incident allegedly occurred in what she described as a rare, prestigious setting. The violence, according to her, didn't happen at a club or party, but after visiting the private residence of a music icon, someone Diddy reportedly saw as part of his exclusive sphere. Britney Spears' name also came up during testimony about Cassie's 21st birthday, which Diddy, producer Dallas Austin, and Britney reportedly attended. Cassie recalled it as a moment where she first understood how deeply embedded Diddy was in A-list celebrity culture. While the party was glamorous, it also marked for her the beginning of what would become a highly controlled life. Neither Prince nor Britney Spears is on trial. However, their names serve a broader narrative purpose, to show that Diddy surrounded himself not just with supporters, but with untouchable figures. Prosecutors appeared to be raising a key question. When someone moves in such elite circles, who dares to question their behavior? These weren't just social gatherings. They were, according to Cassie, displays of power, status, and silence. People danced, drank, and largely avoided asking difficult questions. If they did, they rarely asked twice. The relevance of these celebrity connections in court isn't about guilt. It's about illustrating the environment Diddy allegedly operated in, one where his behavior was potentially shielded by fame, where warning signs were obscured by lights, luxury, and exclusivity. The first week of the trial pulled back the curtain. Now, in week 2, the question is, how many more high-profile names will surface? Even outside the courtroom, the case continues to draw attention. As testimony deepens and evidence grows, individuals from Diddy's past are beginning to speak out. Among the most outspoken have been members of the group Danity Kane. Aubrey O'Day, in particular, has been a vocal critic of Diddy for years, but now her words are gaining wider attention. In a recent interview, she described Diddy as soulless and claimed his treatment of Danity Kane had long-lasting damaging effects.